Welcome back. We're on part 3 and we are on page 7. We have one pre-cut. That's 2 3/4 by 9 inch and we called it a pocket. Let's set that off to the side while we get our decorated paper ready for this. In your paper pack you will find this gorgeous print. On the back it is this. So what I think we're going to do is, looking at your paper like this, where you have the bulk of the flowers up here and down here in the larger, we're going to measure over 8 inches and cut. Next, we'll just turn that, we'll measure over 6 inches and cut. You should have 2 of these. We'll just set one off to the side. This is going to be for our page 8. And this is very simple what we're going to be doing. And let's get our 1/4 inch score tape. Very quick page for us. We'll lay it at the bottom of our page here. We'll burnish it. And find my tools. We're going to place this pocket. So I'm just going to give a little bend, make sure I have overhang on each side, bring it down to the bottom. I'll press, whoop, a little crooked there, and press out. And then I can burnish. Next thing is we just wrap to the back. We'll apply glue to these and we'll tack it down. I will be die cutting some trim, so I will show you what I'm using. Die cutters. What I did was I did our window, our half circle, and I'm going to be gluing this down right like this. So what's exposed is up here. And I'm going to center that in there. Alright. I'm not going to worry about the glue residue there because we need to get paper over it. I am putting a scratch piece of paper back behind so that I can sop up any glue that might seep through. Let's grab this piece back out of our reserves. It's the back side to this. We're going to measure over 8 inches and cut. Now all we have to do is turn it this way, measure over 2 5/8 inch and cut. Apply glue and glue that down. And you'll have a little bit of a black border up there. In your reserves you will find this piece, our cut aparts. On the back it's this. Let's cut out and around this one. This next cut is not on your pre-cutting. Let's cut a 3 inch by 4 inch piece of black cardstock. And I'm going to use a corner rounder on this to round up my sides. It's much quicker than me trying to do this by hand. Much quicker. So once you have that, we'll apply glue and we will center that in there and burnish it. I'm going to be using some leaves, but it's not necessary. But I am going to be using some string. So I'm just going to wrap around this. Leave myself a tail there so that I can tie. But I'm just going to wrap around. And then I'll just tie this off somewhere. And then I can scoot this down. Alright, so I am going to be using some leaves, and I believe that I might go up off to the side. I'm still trying to debate here what I want to do. Actually, I'm going to apply glue to this whole thing. You want to make sure that it's all tacked down really good, because then this is going to come over the top and you're going to be able to get back behind. But if you don't get all your tips and everything adhered down and burnished, you can catch when you slide something back behind this. So I'm just going to get my glue on there. And again, this is not necessary, but I am going to be doing it. Alright, for this piece, all we're going to do is place glue around this side and to the bottom so that you can still slide something back behind. And I'm going to put it off at an angle. I'm going to be adding another leaf, and this is going to glue down to this, and it's just going to go back behind. Make sure I get those tips so that it doesn't snag when we use this pocket. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is add a flower right on top of that bow. Now you can still slide things back behind here. Let me grab something from reserves right now. But you'll want to put some sort of scratch piece back behind. I am going to use my hot glue because it's easier for me just to tack that right down the middle of that bow. And then that way you can still slide something right in front if you wanted to, whether it be a little picture mat or whatever, cut down to size. Just an option there for you. Alrighty, this page is complete. Let's flip it over. Score tape goes around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle and one on either side, and place that in your book. I've got page 7 in my book. We are now on to page 8. Page 8, we had 2 pre-cuts. One was a 6 by 7. It's a large side pocket. The other is a 3.5 by 7 inch, a small side pocket. There's no scoring on this. So let's start, and this is going to be placed like that. So I'm going to place it on the side of my page here. And because it's easier, I'm now going to turn this so I can do this and then my head doesn't get in the video. Okay, I'm going to give this a little bend. We want equal overhang on each side. If you're doing it like this is wrong. You have to have overhang on this one. So we'll just place that. Press. We'll flip it over and we will tack down these flaps. Okay, the opening is going to be off to our right on this. I'm going to get some trim and I'll show you what I'll use. On your frame a card leafy borders, I used this size. And what I did was I made sure that I could wrap back behind. So I left myself some room, and I'll trim off the excess, but I'm just going to lay that right on there and try to get this centered. And it looks like right about there. And then what I'll do is I'll wrap these back behind and glue it all down. That's what I'll do. So here we go. Oops. All right. Now, because this pocket is going to lay on top, we don't have to have a full piece. We just have to have enough to come over here, because then this goes on top and it hides it. In your paper pack, you will find another one of these. On the back, it's blue. Measure over 4 inches and cut. Let's turn that. Measure over 6 inches and cut. We're going to apply glue to that, and we're going to bring it up, match it up with top and bottom, and leave yourself a little bit of a black border and burnish that down. Let's grab our next piece. That is our 3.5 by 7 inch small side pocket. We'll need our 1/4 inch score tape for this. And we'll line it onto the side there. And we're going to mount this pocket, just like we've been doing. So I'm going to turn this so I can See what I'm doing? Give a little bend, make sure there's equal overhang. Press in the middle and out. Now all we have to do is wrap our flaps to the back and tack it down. We do not have any, well, you can put trim here if you'd like. I am not going to put trim. Now in your reserves from the other side of this, you're going to want this. And we'll just measure to fit. This will be perfect top and bottom. We'll leave ourselves a little bit of a black border here. We'll come over to the side, we will trim, and then we'll apply glue and glue it down. Let's finish this off. I am going to glue this down, so I'm going to make sure that's down. On your chipboard pieces, you will find this. Optional, you can draw around this piece onto black cardstock and then kind of weave yourself out and leave yourself a little bit of a black border and glue that together. And then place it. And I decided to do the black border because it kind of separates the blue and the blue so that this stands out a little bit more. And then that, of course, will go up like this. And we'll glue that down. Once you have it down, you can make a bow, glue it down to your chipboard, and glue down one of your flowers. This page is complete, and we have a nice large side pocket. We have a pocket right up front here, and we have a nice tag. Okay, score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle, and we'll go one on each side, and we'll plant that in our book. Page 8 is in my book. Looks good. We are now on to page 9. We're on page 9 and we have some pre-cuts. Let's start off with the first one. We had a 5.5 by 8.5 inch. We called it a back pocket. We laid this on our scoring board, so we were 5.5 inches across and we scored at a 1/2 inch. We turned it, so we were 8.5 across. We scored at a 1/2 inch and 8 inch. We then had a 4 3/4 by 8.5 inch piece. We called it a middle pocket. We laid this, we were 4 3/4 across. We scored at a 1/2 inch. We turned it, so we were 8.5 inches across. We scored it at a 1/2 inch and 8 inch. And that was our middle pocket. Then we had a 4 by 8.5 inch. We called it a top pocket. We laid it so we were 4 inches across. We scored it at a 1/2 inch. We turned it. We were 8.5 across, and we did the same thing, 1/2 inch and 8 inch. We had 2 fold outs, and they were 4 3/4 by 6 inch, and we just said they were left and right fold outs. And all we did was we laid this on our scoring board. We scored it at a 1/2 inch and then 11/16. So you would have had to move your thing over and scored. And we did that for this one as well. We'll be starting with the back pocket. Let's get our base decorative paper. And I thought this one would work really well for what we're doing. On the back, it looks like this. So we're going to look at it like this so that make sure we get the stripes, our leftover cuts are still going the same way. Measure over 8 inches and cut. This is what you should have. We're going to turn that, measure over 6 inches and cut. All right, we'll just flip these over. Matters not which one you set aside for your page 10. All right, there's our base decorative paper. Here is our back pocket. And like we've done before, down in these corners, we're going to clip out the little corner squares. And then we're going to fold on these score lines. Okay, we're going to grab our glue and holding in the side flaps, we're just going to put some glue down in the corner. Whoops, looks like I'm clogged. Hello, come on. Here we go. Put some glue down in those corners. Then we'll fold it up over those sides like we've done previously. Let's grab our 3/8" score tape and we will line that and we'll cut and down across the bottom on that little flap. Okay. Do not place this yet on your paper. We're going to set this off to the side. We need to get our decorated paper first. In your reserves, grab this out, measure over 7 1/4 inches and cut. Now let's just turn that. Here's the border down here and the red up here. Measure over 2 inches and cut. Do not apply glue yet. I want us to cut out a shape. So what I want you to do is center this side to side. You'll have a black border and you're going to have a little border at the top. Now keep that straight. Grab one of your score tapes and you're going to try and get that in the middle. And I would say come down from the black. Oh, let's see here. What do we want to do? About 3/4 inch. So I'm going to take this 3/4 right here. And now I know where to set the back here. And I'm going to try and keep this straight. I'll just shimmy this over until I can see that I have the even amount, as best I can anyway. So whatever you do here, we're going to be lining up for the rest. So holding it down, we will draw that curve. And we'll draw the curve on our decorated paper first, and then we're going to cut this out. So there's my curve. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to center that side to side again, and then I'm going to push this all the way up till I can't see the black. The border is what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to do that. So now I'm going to cut this out, and this is at the top part. Let's see how I did. So that will work for me. I might clean that up just a little bit on this lip here, but I think that this is going to work. All I'm trying to do is get that shape as best I can. And that's going to work for me. Alright, now that you have that, we can apply our glue and we can glue this down. Okay, next, we're not going to adhere this down to our base paper yet. We're just going to set it off to the side. We're going to do the same thing with the middle pocket. Cut out those squares. We will fold back on these and we will pull in our sides. We will glue these down and then we will put our 3/8" score tape around that. I have mine all ready to go. I'm just going to hold this over. In your reserves, you will find this piece. It is about 7 5/8 inch long, and it is about 5 5/8 this way. Measure over 7 1/4 inches and cut. We'll turn that, measure over 2 inches and cut. Now we're going to do the same thing that we did before, and I'm just going to place this down even side to side. I'll make a pencil mark somewhere in the middle there, about 3/4 of an inch down from the top. I'm trying to keep my head out of the video, so I'll just make a mark. Next thing you can do is taking this piece, place this one over the top. It up to the top, match it up, and there you will find where you need to cut. That's probably the easiest. And we will do this. Okay, now I'm going to place this all the way to the top, even, and draw. And I will cut out on the black cardstock the same. And remember, on the back is here, and we're cutting up here. What this is doing for us is just giving us just a little bit of, instead of straight pockets over, and we don't have to use trim for this, I wanted it to where we could just reach right on into that pocket. Let's see how I did. And that will work. And once this is on top, it will be lined up pretty even, as you can see. We can now glue this on. Alright, so we have those two. It's time to grab our top pocket. And we're going to do the same thing with our cutting out the little squares. We will fold back behind and tack down and add our score tape. We're going to get our paper for this, and in your reserves you will find this piece on the back. It looks like this, so you may have to look for it. This is 4 inches by 7 1/4, and what we're going to do is lay this down and get it centered. Leave yourself a little lip there, and we'll just measure to fit on this. I think that's fine. We'll make a pencil mark and we will trim. So I'm going to do that really quick. Alright, here's the bottom, here's the top, and we will line this up, leaving a little bit of a black lip, even side to side. I'll grab this, match it up at the top and the sides, draw, and we're going to cut out our pieces same way we did before, and then draw. And that way you make sure that you get it exactly where it's supposed to be. And it is coffee time for me. So I am going to erase this so it doesn't show up there. Verify that this is correct, and it is. I'll apply glue and glue that down. I have mine down, so if you were to stack these and hold them, you should be looking like this, something really nice looking. Alright, let's grab our piece here, and we're going to start with the back pocket. Now you're going to want to make sure that you get this centered side to side and bring it down to the bottom and place it. This this is the easy part. We'll take the middle pocket, and this is going to place on top. Bring it all the way down to the bottom. Match it up with the bottom of the other one. And place it. Definitely burnish that down. Let's get the top pocket on there. We'll match it up. And press. So now we have 1, 2, 3 nice pockets. Let's get our fold outs. So there's going to be, just so you know, the left, and now I'm going to erase the right side. So left will have the hinges off to the left, and we'll fold on that. Okay. And then now this one with the hinges will be off to the right. Right. And what's going to happen is we are going to be doing something like this. So let's start with the right, the one with the hinge here. On that outside score line, let's pinch on it. Let's wrap that back behind and make sure you are lined up top and bottom straight. We'll pinch and hold that so it doesn't get away from us. And we will tack down this flap. Okay, let's open that up. Make sure there's no glue in there, which there shouldn't be. Let's grab our left. The flap is off to the left. On the outside score line, let's pinch. And we're going to do the same thing. Just line that right on up. It should line up with this one, top and bottom. Pinch and hold that. I like to hold mine down with my hand while I maneuver the glue bottle on there so it does not get away, because it will slip if you're not careful, and then it goes on wrong and you have to take it off. Okay, that's down. Okay, now fold back on those other score lines. Just kind of fill with your hands. And you can push them in until they meet. For this part, you're going to end up, for this page, actually 2 magnets, your brad, and this chipboard piece, birdsong. If you would like to back it in black cardstock, go ahead and do so, but for sure you're going to need something on the back side of this because the brad's going to go through there. So I'm going to glue this down. There. Does not have to be totally perfect. And also it's going to separate the colors too, so I thought it'd be kind of nice. Alright, the first thing we want to do is set our magnets. So you have your pages together. They don't overlap. They don't have to. This page is meant to stay shut with this, and magnets and a sliding brad. Okay, so let's first do our first magnet. This magnet is going to go right underneath this side. So I'm going to get this ready to go. And I will place that over towards the edge. Okay. Next, what we're going to want to do is place the brad. So with your papers together, your fold outs together. Okay. So you have this, and if you want to push in your page so that they go in a little bit more, your fold outs, you can. We're going to place this down here, and what we're going to want to do is figure out where it is that this brad is going to place. Okay, so I'm just going to, once I have it where I think it's straight, I'm going to push this up a little. I'm going to poke this through with my thing. That's going to be helpful. Just a little bit, just so it goes through there and sets in there. And then with those out, you can kind of lay it right on that little pencil mark to see, is that going to be straight? Is that going to be pretty centered? And mine looks like it's going to be centered. So now with this, I'm going to poke a little hole. Be careful not to get a tear in there. But we're going to poke that, and we're going to feed the brad through. And you'll want to push that brad all the way down till it sits fairly flat in there. And now we can just do the prongs. Make sure that that's in there. Okay, so this will move. Now, place the mate, and you want to make sure that stays straight. And we'll guide it. Remove that. And make sure you are straight. You have a hold of this now. Make sure top and bottom are straight. And press. Okay, now you can carefully lift this up and slide it out of the way. Don't tear it. But now your thing is placed. So I'm going to move that out of the way. For now, I'm going to open this up, and we're going to find our decorative paper. I want some color off to the side. I think that would look really nice on either side. So in your paper pack, you will find this. On the back, it's the butterflies, and that would look just as nice if you'd rather go that route. We're going to, let's look at it like this, where the butterflies are facing the correct way, just in case. We're going to measure over 3 7/8 inch and cut. Now that you have this, what we're going to do is measure over 5 7/8 inch and cut. Measure over again 5 7/8 inch and cut. Now I want to say, do not glue down your right hand side yet. All we're going to do is apply glue to this side, and we're going to glue it down. We cannot do this one yet until we have the other side on. So let's get this one down. We'll put this one off to the side. I have mine down. Let's unattach this. We already know it's in the correct place. Okay. We're going to find our paper for this. We'll punch back through, and then we can get that to cover up that brad. In your paper pack, you will find this print. And what I would like you to do on this is, let's first cut right on down. And where we're going to cut is, you see where the black line is? We're just going to cut that straight on down. And I'm going to do mine really quick. And we're going to work with this one to start. Once you have it like that, I'd like you to measure over 3 7/8 inch and cut. All right, you see where the panel meets this one, these two? We need to divide that. So I'm going to cut that really quick, and I'll show you mine. So that is what we're looking to get. Once you have that, we can now measure over 5 7/8 inch and cut. We're going to apply glue to this, and we are going to glue it on this inside, or on this front panel, and we'll burnish. Okay, so the hole. I can see where my hole is here. I'm just going to kind of use this to punch back through. I can now get this brad back through that little hole. So we know that's where it's supposed to be. Make sure that you push down that brad head into your deal there. And it should be flat. Fold it back. Now we're going to apply glue to this page. And be careful when burnishing over the brad. Okay, so let's take a look. That's going to look really good. Let's close it up. It should snap. And now all we need to do is get our paper for that side. There are two pieces in your reserve. We're going to layer them so that we get this on here, and we also have some of that here because our next page has that all over it. So look in your reserves for this cutting, okay? What we're going to do is measure over 3 7/8 inch and cut. I'm going to do that really quick. We're going to apply glue, and we are going to bring that down, leaving a black border. Now, one thing you might want to do is look to see where your border is on the other one. Just kind of bring it over and try to match that up with where they start on each. And mine's about right there. I'll glue that down. Okay. You will find this in your reserves. The back looks like this. Measure over 3 7/8 inch and cut. And I'm going to do that really quick. You'll apply glue and glue that down. You'll be able to have this at the bottom, which I said will match, and you'll want to match at the top. So I'll move that out of the way. I hope that made sense. So I think that looks really good, guys. Holds us shut. Looks nice. We're going to flip this over. Page 9 is complete. Score tape around the outside like a picture frame. 1 down the middle. And I think for this one, we're going to go 2 on each side. And we're going to plant this in our book. Now, when you plant this in your book, I want to show you, just to make sure it's done correctly, because we do have a wider lip. Here is our page 9. I want you to bring it all the way to the left until you line up flat, almost to where you're flush with the side of this page. Just leave a little bit of a lip, tiny, and you're going to have more of a gap here, and that will help you lay flatter in your book. I have mine in. I'm going to move this now out of the way. We definitely have to make sure we burnish this really well. It's going to be carrying quite a bit of weight, and we just want to make sure that this doesn't start lifting up, especially around the edges, from not getting it fastened down really well. That looks good. We are now on to page 10. We set this aside for our page 10. On the back, it looks like this. And I think looking at it in my book, either way will look good. And I haven't decided. I kind of wanted this to go along with this when we plant this in our book. This is a page we just place our photos on, and I think that looks really good. But also, the color looks good. I'm going to go with my original idea on this. I'm going to be placing score tape around the outside like a picture frame. There are no pre-cuts, no nothing. Again, this is just a page for us to plant our photos. All we need to do on this is go 1 down the middle and 1 on either side. and we'll get that in our book. And I'm going to place it right now. This is such an easy page. There's nothing to it other than to match up. Picture placement. Now, if you'd like to put something at the end of the tutorial over here, some chipboard or sticker pieces, do so. And I do not know this language, so I'm hoping I have it going the right way. Alrighty, we are now on to page 11. Page 11. In your paper pack, you will find this print on the back. It is this. So looking at your paper like this with the lines going up and down, measure over 8 inches and cut. Next, we'll turn that, measure over 6 inches and cut. Now, page 11 and 12, we're going to actually do these together because they are identical. Let's flip these over. And I'm going to get it to where it looks like these are going the right way. I don't know which way is right and which way is not right. Let me take a look here. I think like that with the beaks heading down. These are our base pages, page 11 and 12. We had 2 pre-cuts, 1.5 inches by 7 inches. And these were both our side pockets. Let's grab some score tape, and if you run out, we can always use, I'm about out on that. So on this side, I'm going to run a row here and here of score tape. And I'm going to burnish that. I'm going to flip these around so that I can kind of get at them. But these are going to be side pockets. So I'm going to mount both of these at once. Give this a little bend. And this will also, if you want to place a photo too, press in the middle and out. I'm going to do that with this one. And if you would like some trim, decorative trim, do so. I'm going to be in the leafy borders for this. Okay, once we have this, we know what we need to do. We need to fold in our flaps on each side, on both of these, glue them down, and we want to burnish it down. So let's do that really quick. If you are die cutting, and I'm using the leafy borders, I used the largest one. Now what I did was I started with an 8-inch long piece of cardstock. I centered it, and then I just cut at an angle. So these are facing in, so our openings are here and here. And I'm going to glue this down, and we will have some that will hang over. So I'm just going to try to get the space here and here the same. And then all we have to do is wrap and glue it down. So let's do that. I have both mine down. Grab this back out of your reserves, measure over 6 inches and cut. So what I would like us to do is make one cut, and then we're gonna, for the other side, because we want it to be the same, we're gonna use that as the template to get the same cut. So our first cut, measure over 1 3/8 inch and cut. I'm gonna do that really quick. Okay. All right, so this is going to look like this. I want this side to look like that, mirroring. So what I want you to do is take this, flip it around, match up your blues and the stripe, and it will match up over here. And I want you to do pencil marks on each side. Okay? So now I'm going to cut on those pencil lines. So now we have 2 that are the same. The red's going to be on the outside, and the blue on the inside. And these pieces should fit. We'll have a little black border over there, and we'll glue those down. On your sticker sheet, oops, my camera's shaking, locate this sticker, Birdsong, and we are going to mount that to black cardstock. We will cut around it, leaving a black border. We're going to dab a little glue on the back side here, and it's going to hang off past, but our glue is here, and we'll bring it up just a little bit so you still see down here, and we'll press that just for some decoration there. On your sticker sheet you should have 2 of these, and I'm just going to stick one in the middle here, and I'll stick the other one on the other side. And I want to make sure that these are straight, so I'm just going to kind of line these up, make sure I get it in the same spot, right about here. There we go. Now if you don't want to use some of these that I am using, by all means you don't have to. I'm going to place a little glue at the top, and I'll place that down right there. But I do want to first get black cardstock. I want to outline that. So I'll just place it down and cut around that. So now I have mine backed with black cardstock. And I'm going to place this down right where I had it before. I always like lining my stuff with black cardstock. It seems to separate the colors and make certain things just kind of come to life, to pop. To finish mine up, what I've done is I'm sliding some leaves back behind here, and you don't have to. It's going to glue back behind this piece. Over here, I did a string, a bow, and I kind of was able to slide this back underneath because I didn't completely cover it with glue. And I'll glue a flower down right here, like that. And I think I might want to put a flower on the other side as well. So I'm going to be doing that. Page 11 and 12 is complete. Let's flip these over, score tape around the back side like a picture frame, one down the middle, one on either side, and we will plant page 12 together. So let's go ahead and plant page 11 in there. Okay, page 11 is in. Now for page 12, we have part of our spine right here. And I was going to do something thicker, but we're just going to leave this alone and so forth. So you can do some stuff, picture mats or whatever. Okay, so you will notice here is the crease for our hinge. If you move over to the right, you're going to fill your cardstock, and that will reach all the way across. So where you fill that, I want you to center this, the edge of this, between this and this crease. And then when we get done with this, we're going to reinforce the hinges and add some, I'll add something to make it look really nice on the inside in here. Decorated paper. So that's all there is to this. I just wanted to make sure that you placed yours the way I had envisioned us placing it. And that way, we can get some decorated paper on in there. In your reserves, you will find these two. They are 12 inches long. One is about 3 3/4 inch wide, and one is about 4 1/4 inch wide. On both of these, what we're going to do is, looking at your paper like this, we're going to measure over 6 7/8 inch and cut. We're going to have the wider one first. And what we're going to do is we're going to measure over a 1/2 inch and cut. And we're going to keep cutting 1/2 inch strips, and that will give us 8 1/2 inch long strips. We're going to set this one off to the side for right now. Here are my 8 1/2 inch strips. Let's grab our book. Now also, when you were cutting these, you should have a leftover one like this. You need this. So we'll set that off to the side as well with our other piece. Let's open up our book. And what we're going to do, and I'm going to start right on this side of the spine. And then there's the spine right here, and then this. So I'm going to place this right in the little space here. And I'm going to make sure that there is even amount of black cardstock showing top and bottom. And I'm going to glue that down. My next one is I'm going to make sure it's the same and it's within from the hinge over. It's going to fit right there. Line them up. Okay, and I'll glue and burnish that down. We're going to turn the page and we're going to keep doing that, and you'll be able to see how tall you are up here. And this should fit perfectly in between your pages. So we're going to keep doing that for each one of these, laying them down in there. Make sure I have enough here. And I got 2 more left. One here and one here. This last little piece, what we're going to do with this is ignore this for now, this side, okay? All we're looking at is this middle section of spine. And what we're going to do is line this up with this one here. And we're going to measure all the way over until we hit the other section, until the side there. So I'm measuring from here to here. And I'm going to turn this so you can see. So here's my last one on this section, and I'm going to come right over here, making sure I don't get it in the crease. Okay. So I gotta find my marks again. Here to here. And I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to do that by hand here. Okay. Now, we're going to need part of this one in just a moment. But you can see that if you place this to where it comes all the way up underneath here, it's going to cover up these little edges. And you're going to cover those up, and then it will leave you a little bit of a black border there. So I'm going to erase my pencil mark here. Get my glue. I hope that made sense. I will show you. If you are unsure, I will show you when I am done here up close. And we're going to need, I think I told you, we're going to need this in just a moment, because this piece is going to be too short for the top. So I'm going to bring this up, kind of tilt it so you can see how it kind of lines up. And it comes over just a little bit, and that's fine because we're going to continue on around this with our other stuff. So we're using up our scraps first. So one of the things that I would like you to do on this is, I don't want us to cut this way. So what we're going to do is measure over 1/4 inch and cut. We're going to do the same thing we did down here with up here. So I'm going to turn this around so I don't get my head in the video. And I'm going to do the same thing. Just kind of set this down. Make some pencil marks. Now one thing I need to do is keep this down and open this up to make sure that I'm lining up with what I got down there. And it looks like I do have that pretty good. Might want to shift that just a little. Okay, I'm going to cut and then I'm going to glue it down. Okay, got that down. Now over here, we're going to place this piece on over here. And we still have another one of these in our paper, so we'll be able to get this all done nice. And looking to see what we need. We're going to measure over 3 inches and cut. I have mine cut. I'm going to apply glue, or you can use score tape, and glue it down. When burnishing, be very careful about this. And for me, I'm going to lay a piece of score tape over that. Sometimes that adhesive is a little bit thicker. And now I'm going to apply my glue and glue that down. I'm going to use my fingers over that so I don't break through. Now if you break through, you can put a sticker or something over that. Okay, let's get this side taken care of. In your paper pack, you will find another one of these. Measure over 1 5/8 inch and cut. Now what you want to do is measure over 6 7/8 inch and cut. And I forgot to film when I was cutting, so let's do that. I placed score tape over my little brads there. I've got glue back here. And now I'm just going to place this, trying to keep the same headroom that I did before. Grab this back. We're going to turn it like this. Measure over 1/4 inch and cut. Measure over again 1/4 inch and cut. Then what I'd like you to do is come from this side, so that in case you want to use this in your picture mats and stuff. Measure over 1/4 inch, cut. Measure over 1/4 inch and cut. I have all 4 of my 1/4 inch strips. Now we do have this down here, and that's fine. What I'm going to do is bring this down so it's even with the bottom of this one. I will come over here. I will cut where my string is, and then I will continue on until I hit over here at the side. So I'm going to show you. There's one. Continuing to the side of this one. And that's excess in case I need to fix something. Okay, I'm going to start with this one over here. That'll be easier for me to line up, I think. Tuck that down in there. And then get this one on. And I think that's going to look really nice by the time we're done here. Continuation all the way over. And then it's straight. Okay, same thing up here. And for this, I'm going to use a pencil for sure. Right about here. And then the other one. So that's all we're going to be doing with this part, and I think the album's going to look really sharp with us doing this. Without getting my head in the video. And then this one. Continuation. I think that looks really good. Very nice. Okay, let's flip on to the back. This one's going to be a little bit easier. Here's our continuation here. We'll go all the way across here. Okay. And my other piece. So I think that looks really good, and I hope you like that too. So that is all there is to it. I think this came out nice. I think this is a good layout. Lots of places to store photos and placing photos. And by the way, you can place a photo right here too. Now all that's left to be done is your picture mats. And you should have some room in here so you can do a bunch of stuff. Here's an idea for you, and I may be doing this, is back here where I have the extra space. I may be doing a large, thick, like a 1/4 inch folder with several pages in it that can just magnetically slap right down into here. And I've done that before, and if I do that, I will need 2 magnets on this back piece, and I'll have to cover it. And you can always use some of this paper to cover it. And then your folder on the back would have the 2 as well. So that's an idea, and hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. It was a lot of fun to make, and I love this paper. I think everything came out nicely. Our spacing, the color coordination, and I just think it looks really good. So happy crafting, everybody, and I will see you on my next tutorial.